Howdy, my name's Jeff. I've got a few cameras in here you might like to see. Come on, have a look. Mind the step. I bet there's a few in here you haven't seen before. They range from very old to fairly modern. One of my oldest I've got here, and my father's first camera that he bought when he was a little lad in 1927. It's the Kodak Hawkeye. There's no settings whatsoever on this except a lever to open the case, a winder to turn the film, and that, would you believe, is your viewfinder. So it's a bit of hit and miss. You just point it in the general direction and hopefully you get what you're aiming at. But that's a neat little camera. There's a few more here that come on later in these bellows cameras. They're a lot later, of course, in the still photography, and then we go up to our more modern stuff. But I'm more interested in movie than anything, and this is one of my favorites. This is my grandfather's 1922 Pathoscope Ace hand-wind 9.5mm camera projector. It runs 9.5mm films, black and white of course, and that was from 1922 they started making those cameras, and he bought that one just after the First World War, so that was great. Another one you might be interested in, this one here. They call it the binocular coronet. It's a 3D camera, would you believe? So instead of taking one photograph, which you can do if you choose to, when you've taken those and developed them, they even supply you with a little viewer so you can have a 3D view of your mother-in-law or whoever, you know, jumps in front. Here's a little one. Japanese Minolta. Ideal pocket camera. Very small. Wind on. Take a picture. Almost a spy camera, but I have seen them smaller. But that's about the smallest one I've got. Should we move on to a couple of other movie cameras? 8mm. This is my first one when I was 16. I won't tell you how old I am now, but I'm actually 77. Got this when I was 16. 8mm color, standard 8. But this is my favorite. I think it's cute. It's my grandfather who bought this. This is a Deco, also made in England. 8mm, minimal adjustment for anything, and just a very cute. Both of these are wind up, aim and shoot. And when it runs down, you've got to wind it up again, so you don't have to worry about running out of batteries. Whether you want to talk about the actual film in this, 8mm film, 8mm film came in a 25-foot roll, which is 8 meters, which was actually 16mm in width. So you'd take 25 feet, and then when that had run out, you just flip it over and put it up here, take another 25 feet. When the film was developed, they'd cut the whole strip of film right up the middle, join the two together, and you ended up with a 50-foot roll of film. So not the most not the best way of doing things as far as I'm concerned, but there we go, it worked. But yeah, I got a lot of time for that one. My granddad's old movie camera.
And I think you had some film from a while ago.
A film? Yes, I've got some film here. I can show you this one. This is the before the 8mm. This is 9.5mm film. As you can see, it's just a celluloid type film. Sprocket holes are in the center, which is where the projector would grip the film and quite often if you didn't have it lined up exactly, the sprockets would puncture the film and it would be ruined completely. So we've got a few of those as well. You might wonder why I've got this collection. It started with my grandfather. He was an avid cine buff back in the old black and white days. Got a lot of time for him. He was born in 1899, died in 1983, and he introduced me to the world of cinematography. Now, I've learnt a lot from him. Of course, he's no longer with us, but at least I've got black and white movie of me learning to walk, and that's 77 years ago. So I'm very pleased about that. And also, I think it's important that people do collect, whether it's cameras, cars, or stamps. Something that's going to show future generations just how we did it in earlier generations. You know, that's what I look at, because a lot of people, they wouldn't have a clue about this type of cinematography, which has now progressed into what you're filming with now. So that's why I reckon it's extremely important. And I think museums, it should be compulsory for everybody to go to a museum sometime in their life. Well, you may remember that when I was out in the shed, I spoke about this little Pathé Ace camera. It was made in about 1922 to 24, so it's 100 years old. It was my grandfather's first home movie projector. He was very proud of it, but it's hand wind. If you stopped winding, the film would stop and the globe would burn the film, so you had to make sure that you kept on winding. So even though it's got a plug, that's only for the globe. There's very little adjustment on it. There's a little lens at the front. It's a tiny, very primitive bayonet fixture for coping with focus, and as you can see, wind on reel and a take up reel, and that's about all there is to it. But that's about all I can say about this one, but I would like to talk a bit more about another one which is very special to me. Moving on from the Pathé Ace, the hand wind projector which my granddad had after the First World War, he decided after the Second World War, he'd done his service, and he decided he would try and make his own projector because he couldn't afford to buy one. And this is the result. It looks a bit agricultural, but believe me, I wish I had his skills. So if we open this up, as you can see, similar principle to the Pathé Ace, reels of film up the top, a collection reel down the bottom, but inside is where all the trickery occurs. Now he had to use whatever was at hand. I mean, this dial here comes from an old radio knob. It's an old Bakelite knob as a rheostat to adjust the speed of the film. There's a huge globe inside here which I haven't got here at the moment, but when that's wound on, as you can see, this little spool here has got two teeth on it which moves the film through the gate, and believe me, it works a treat. We had an enormous amount of fun with it. I'm not going to switch it on because this cotton wiring is a little bit frayed now, and it's a bit like me, I'm a little bit frayed in my old age. But as I say, I'm very proud of this, and I'd hate to see it go somewhere that didn't appreciate what it's really meant for. Even the switches to switch it on and off are old Bakelite light switches at the back. So that's one item I'm particularly proud of, considering he's made all these things himself from scratch. Okay, I think that's about me done. Okay, now here comes the fun part of putting everything back where it came from. They don't always go back in the same spot, but as long as they're tucked away and kept for a rainy day and for other people to enjoy further down the track. And I just hope that anybody watching this has got a bit of information and enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed collecting them. So all the best. Thank you very much. Bye.